I always find it interesting how we often give buildings personalities and characters of their own, much like our own friends and family that we build relationships with, but we don't often dig into the fact that those buildings, those characters, they can have relationships between themselves as well, relationships that go back hundreds of years. And today we're lucky enough to be exploring one such relationship that's lasted centuries. We're on top of the Southrepps church, and you might be wondering exactly why we're up here. Well, come and have a look at this church farmhouse. There's an extraordinary story to be told here, and today you're coming with us to hear all about it. We often talk about curb appeal, don't we? But I can't remember the last time walking up to a house gave such a feeling of gravitas and a feeling of history as much as church farmhouse does. I think one of my favourite things about a classic Georgian hallway is that it's flanked by two guaranteed showstopper receptions, so you're spoiled for choice of which way to go. Today I've gone this way, I think because the fire's on. Just pulls you in, says welcome home, drop your shoulders, light the fire, grab a good book and forget the world. As you venture a bit further into this home, you start to find what I think is my favourite part of its character, just how eclectic it is. It's called Church Farmhouse, and don't forget that you've got all the Georgian opulence at the front, but come to the rear, you start to be reminded of the more humble heritage of the place. It dates back to the 1600s, and all of a sudden you find yourself in this wonderful farmhouse kitchen with a vaulted ceiling. Not all that dissimilar to the church, really. But then you get these hybrid rooms, the most wonderful morning breakfast room. And then, where it starts to get really impressive, you realise just how flexible the property is. The owners, for example, at the moment, they're living a wonderfully modern life. Working from home, there's treatment rooms, running multiple businesses. Situated off of that spacious landing, you'll find no less than 5 bedrooms, and don't for a minute think the character's forgotten up here. For example, in the principal, the most wonderful feature fireplace, and don't forget the views of the church through the original glass. Looks very much like an oil painting. And in another very pleasing thread of continuity, you'll find every bit as much versatility up here as well. All very generously proportioned bedrooms, meaning once again they're there to be inhabited in a way that makes this house your home. With a perfectly formed and functional property such as that, you might be hoping for the same in the garden. It's exactly what you're getting. It almost feels like a condensed version of a classic English garden. The current owners here are actually volunteer gardeners at Blickling, and you can tell they've taken all of that wealth of knowledge and injected it here at home. The amount of features they've managed to pack into this space is extraordinary. There's herb gardens, kitchen gardens, there's soon to be thriving fruit trees. They've softened the border, which complements the flint perfectly. I can't believe how much there is to talk about in such a manageable space. It's a period home with a wonderful lineage, but manages somehow to shapeshift and adapt to an extraordinarily modern way of life. That is rare.